After the catastrophe of Terminator 3, it is up to one man to save this entire franchise, CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger, along with Batman, Jake Sully, so it's a couple people actually. Okay, so Terminator Salvation, dumbass title. So Terminator Salvation takes place in 2018, 14 years after Terminator 3, Judgment Day has already happened, and we are now taken into the future war where the humans fight against the army of the machines. And as always, revolves around the story of John Connor, in which a failed attempt of attacking a Skynet facility, he discovers they are creating the T-800, the same Terminator sent back to kill his mother. While at the same time, a criminal named Marcus Wright meets up with a young Kyle Reese, who would eventually get captured by Skynet. So now these two unlikely forces have to team up to save John Connor's father in hopes of saving the future. Now this movie is directed by Mick G, in which in all honesty he doesn't have a whole lot of memorable work under his belt. He had Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, We Are Marshall, when Matthew McConaughey used to be a B actor by the way, and they thought it was a good idea to hand it off to that guy. Why? The world may never know about these certain mysteries. And I know a lot of people just totally shit on this movie, like this is the worst of the franchise to them, and after watching it again, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's just a tad bit better than Terminator 3, and that's not saying a whole lot. It's still a bad movie, but it wasn't complete garbage. Because the acting overall was decent. Like, you have Christian Bale as John Connor, who probably gives one of the better performances in the movie, but that really isn't saying a whole lot. You can just tell that he just got off the set of The Dark Knight, and he brought that raspy Batman voice to Terminator Salvation. He just had a weird voice for John Connor. Cause he's like, I have a chance to infiltrate Skynet. Give me that opportunity, because I'm Batman. John Connor. Really does sound like that in the movie. That's probably one of my least favorite performances from Christian Bale. He just doesn't feel like he's the destined leader of the human resistance. And we got Sam Worthington as Marcus Wright, who gives a mediocre performance that's not really worth remembering, even in Sam Worthington's career. I mean, it was cool seeing the franchise add new characters like Marcus Wright, because he expanded more on Skynet and the future of creating Terminators with living tissue. But as terms of character, you can say so many shitty things about him. I'll touch on that soon. But you have Anton Yelchin as a young Kyle Reese, and he's probably my favorite performance in the entire movie. When they first introduce him, you can tell he truly grew up in this future war, as Kyle Reese in Terminator 1 mentions. Other than Anton Yelchin, the performances were just bland and boring, but there is one thing that'll easily top that, and that is the story and the script. How the movie starts, you see Marcus Wright in 2003 selling his body to Skynet, basically helping them perform this experiment that will give him the metal endoskeleton. Helena Bonham Carter, who was forcefully in the movie, who also forcefully has cancer, gives him papers to sign, and he just makes out with her. And he's like, so that's what death tastes like. Oh my gosh, shit. It's gonna get worse, is it? Sure enough, it does with the script, because the execution of Marcus Wright as a character made me say, why is he even in this movie? Throughout the movie, it would switch from John Connor to Marcus, John Connor to Marcus, John Connor to Marcus. It just didn't know how to focus. I honestly didn't give a shit about Marcus Wright and his metal endoskeleton dick. Go back to John Connor, the meat and potatoes of the franchise. And when they do get to John Connor, some of his moments were pretty well executed, like he's on this conflicting side whether he truly knows about the Terminators or not. He's listening to the recordings that his mother gave him, he's like, I'm not sure if I'm fit to be the leader of the human resistance. Plus he finds out that his father Kyle Reese is on Skynet's #1 spot on the hit list, and he's #2, and he's like, yeah, we need to go get Kyle Reese, because if there's no Kyle Reese, there is no John Connor. At this point, he's kind of like an underground leader in which he takes orders from higher officials, which is kind of dumb. Who wants to see John Connor take orders? No, you want to see John Connor give the orders, because he's John Connor. But beneath all the character flaws and the unnecessary appearances, I will admit this is a good looking movie. Some of the action scenes are pretty awesome, because there's about 2 of them where the majority happen all in one shot, and you're just seeing all this shit happening. But the action scene that kind of made me laugh and roll my eyes at the same time is when they showed young CGI Arnold Schwarzenegger, and my god, he looks bad. However, I do give them props, because you just can't have a Terminator movie without Arnold Schwarzenegger, but this time they just couldn't get him back. Why? Well, because he was governor at the time. He was too busy destroying California, putting us into debt, and banging his maid. Still love him though, but hey, our governor can kick your governor's ass at the time. Terminator Salvation, however, is the perfect definition of style over substance. Sure, there's cool shit to look at, but the roots and the story that drive this movie, it's not there. Because in the end, Terminator Salvation had some bland performances, except Anton Yelchin. He was pretty good in the movie. It did its best to fit in the Terminator timeline, but it did it slightly better than Terminator 3. Had some cool action scenes, it was fun to watch, but like I said, style over substance. Because Terminator Salvation is only worth watching if it was on Netflix. I think it's actually on Netflix. If you have the balls to watch this movie, just watch it and don't ever watch it again. Alright, I am done with the Terminator movies. We have been through good, we have been through bad, but let's see if Terminator Genesis brings us out of that shitstorm. Please, pretty please, with a cherry on top, please, please let it be good. But have you seen Terminator Salvation, and what did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, leave a comment below. And as always, there's a link for my Twitter and my Facebook below as well. Keep in contact with me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, but in the meantime, hasta la vista, baby. Still can't do it.